with our streaming.
Okay.
So,
Lord, we kind of use that, Lord, to the business of the fire commission, Lord, the fire department, this county, Lord, we just pray for your guidance, Lord, as we make the decisions, Lord, to better serve our communities, Lord. We just pray for the protection for each member, Lord, each volunteer that's out there serving their communities, Lord. We just ask you to lead, guide, and direct us throughout, and thank you for all your gifts that you give us, Lord, in Jesus' name.
All right, we want to thank everybody who's watching online, and I guess this is probably going to be norm for the next foreseeable future. First thing is additions and deletions to the agenda. We do want to add one thing is the approval of the minutes of July 9th. That was the last regular meeting, but Kyle has those, they're in here, and so we will also approve what you have on the special meeting on July 23rd.
Okay.
And then, is everybody okay with that? And then also, Linville had asked about the, specifically about updates on the truck situation, which is still ongoing. And if that's all right, we're going to couple that with the truck replacement concerns that Banner Elk has as well, if that's okay. And so if Banner Elk is here, and Linville can also, we can put that all together, if that's okay. Public comments, did we have anybody sign up for public comment?
sorry, Jim Brooks.
Yeah.
And Brian Bob from the public comment.
Okay.
There's a sign up sheet.
Right.
There's a sign up sheet.
Yeah, I signed it.
Okay.
All right. Jim, Jeff, hand me that. All right, Jim. Speak your piece.
The treasurer for the ladder company made note that y'all require an audit by the 1st of October, and there was nothing in the budget to pay for it, no parameters. Previously, what has been done, I think, is that the county would hire somebody to audit everybody the same. But we put in an email, we've requested information as to how that's going to be paid for and who's going to do it. Do you want us to get it done? How do you want it done? We just need to know how. And if time's wasting, we're almost to October.
Well, the best of my recollection on the bylaws or the articles says that the fire departments need to just get that done. So we can take a look at that. And,
Well, how are we going to pay for it? It's not in the budget.
Right. Well, it's y'all's responsibility to get it, I guess.
Well,
How it's been paid for before, because it's supposed to happen every year.
I think what was done before, and there are enough people here where somebody should remember, was that the fire commission hired somebody to do all of us the same, which would be the best thing because it'd be easier for y'all to
Because they've been going. How did you get yours done last year and the year before?
We didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. Well,
Linville said it's been 11 years or something like that since they've done an audit.
well, it's supposed to be done every year.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't have any problem with that, but
right.
we're trying to find out how it's going to get done.
Okay. Jeff, can you look, just follow up?
It's going to be a lot cheaper if the fire commission hires one person and say, do them all.
Right.
Than us doing whatever, and then y'all can't make heads or tails of it.
Okay.
But,
Jeff, follow up on
yeah,
that.
it would be done by October.
Problem is we've not sold the contract since we signed it, 4 years ago? Yeah. So they probably likely forgot.
If I may speak, well, we've done it for years. They would just choose two. They have everybody's name in the pot. They choose two. Then the next year, them two wouldn't be put in. They choose two more until they went through everybody, and then they start over again. I don't know if that's been changed.
Well,
since I was around.
about 98% sure that it just says each fire department's responsible for turning in an audit every year as a requirement.
Watauga County hires somebody to do everybody. It's done every single year.
Okay. Well, in our memorandum of understanding or our agreement with the county, Jeff's gonna check on it. Okay. But I think that he'll check on it and see what we need to do. It was my impression when I went back and was reading all that, that it's just the department's responsibility to make sure it gets done. So, but Jeff, you can double check that pretty quickly, like tomorrow, and get that out to everybody. And then if there's something we need to do, then we'll go from there and do it. All right. Okay. Newland.
All right, just got a question for you. 7201 is up for replacement next year.
Mm-hmm.
It is our custom cab engine. And what we were thinking, if there's $450,000 slated for replacement on that truck, what we would like to do, if it's okay with you, so we know what direction we're going, we'd like to look into doing a refurbish on that truck, since it is refurbishable. And by that, we're looking at rebuilding the pump, replacing valves, because technically it hasn't passed pump test for the past 2 years. It won't hold vacuum somewhere, but it pumps fine. So, but it's talking about going through that, adding the foam system to it, updating the lights, going through the top end of the engine, and maybe a squirt of paint on it. That's what we consider a refurbish. We didn't know what you guys would consider a refurbish. And on top of that, we think we can do and make this a win-win and save the county some money too. Was also looking if we can save money on doing that refurbish, can we take another portion of that money and look at replacing our brush truck and still save the county money?
Well, so we're talking about next year's budget, right?
Yes.
So you're asking if we would be okay if for next year's budget, you looked at getting prices on a refurbish and not a new truck.
Right, doing a refurbish and replacing our brush truck.
Okay.
When we can still save the county money, and it'll be a win-win all the way around, but it's gonna take some time of specking everything out.
Right.
To
You
have
have to start
it
that.
ready to
now.
go. Right.
Comments got it?
You're talking about next year's budget.
Yeah.
Yes, when we're in
Yeah.
there.
He's just wondering, he's.
Well, I'm
The
just
next
gotta
making
get
sure, I'm
straightened
making
out.
sure we're on the same
It
page.
it says on the paper that Brian did that 7201 is slated for replacement in 2021.
And we have had conversations to where if your truck is to be replaced next year, you need to start that now, and that's what we're talking about.
So I'd
So,
say go ahead. Can I get some pictures together? Now, what are you talking about going top end, overhead?
Yeah, doing an overhead.
That's all that thing should
going
need.
down that
Yeah,
road.
I mean, it's just little things here and there, but like the plumbing on the truck,
I mean, that,
yeah.
the refurb, that have to, definitely all that have to be gone through.
Maybe if we can add a front intake to it if possible and add the foam system, just upgrade it to more of what we need, but keep the same truck.
And they'll have to bring it up to the current standards, whatever that is as far as.
Oh, it's already there.
Well, the hose,
Where it doesn't have a rear intake or front intake, everything else is.
You know what I mean, like the lights and
Oh,
the chevron on the back and all the stuff from
Yeah.
the current standards.
It's real easy for future.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that, now, has this been done before?
No, but it's always kind of been a,
we're,
Not in this county, but it is,
we're kind of talking about being the guinea pig for Avery County.
Well, considering we're trying to get these things flipped over and stay on top of schedule. Sounds like a good option that that you would go ahead and do that. Okay, see how that goes.
see where it comes out.
So the general consensus would say, yes, go ahead. Okay, and that if, Jeff, if you'll kind of work with Jeff on that, so he'll know how that's going.
Okay,
Because if something goes wrong, we don't want to have to start all over later down in the year.
right.
So I would just keep him up and keep him with tabs on that.
And y'all are okay with the brush truck idea too?
We'll have to see.
So that would be during the budget process, yeah. That would be.
I would assume so.
Okay.
I'm just taking a long hair guess, features in my head.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, all right, they solved several bunch of problems. All right, on the agenda items, hey, Bob Putney, Beach Mountain Volunteer Fire Department.
Thank you, guys. I'll make this brief. While I'm taking these out. I had the pleasure of watching your YouTube meeting on the financing, and I apologize for not being here. I didn't realize we were gonna talk about Beach Mountain. So I asked Jeff to get me on the agenda for tonight. What I've given you, well, in that meeting, two things that I took away from it was that you didn't have a big appetite for giving Beach Mountain more money. And there was a comment made that I needed to come back and justify our request to you. And I understand that. What I gave you here was my letter from January 16th to the Fire Commission when I submitted the budget. And I've given you the summary of the budget on page 2. And what I'd like to clarify, because it was not clear, I think, to the Fire Commission at the finance meeting, is that the last 2 years, from all the way back to 2018, we got 60,354, and last year we got 61,504. We requested 56,585. We thought we were being responsible in sending you a budget that had a substantial discount. I didn't realize you were going to take a 40% discount from us. When I go back through the last 2 meetings, in June, we found out that there was a problem. There was a mistake made, when the Fire Commission did the budget and the previous records. And more than one of the members of the Fire Commission acknowledged that and said, would you give us some time to let us see what our finances are and then meet back. I thought it was this meeting. And my issue is there was a mistake made, and it was made by the Fire Commission, and it's something that I don't think the taxpayers of Beach Mountain should be penalized for. There was a 40% decrease in what we received from last year. We asked for $5,000 less than we asked for last year. I thought it was very reasonable, and we justified it. If you'll look at the summary, and 3 of the members here have sat through this. Well, no, Rob's not here. 2 of the members here have sat through this discussion with me for the last couple of years. Beach Mountain gets no credit for any of the employees' benefits, salaries that the Fire Commission pays. Beach Mountain does not have any utilities in the budget, electricity, propane, fuel. You'll see that those items are blank. We don't get credit for the $450,000 truck replacement purchase. And that was okay with us. We've been meeting with the Fire Commission every year and going through this exercise every year. And usually in June, when I get a chance to address you, we work it through and we figure it out and we make it work. This year it didn't happen. I'm here to justify our request of $56,000. I think it's reasonable. I think it's correct. I think it's less than the last 2 budgets that you've authorized Beach Mountain. It's not fair to the taxpayers of Beach Mountain to go to $34,000, which is what the Fire Commission has offered us. And my mother always said, when you're ahead, keep your mouth shut. And I'm not sure I'm ahead yet. So, 2 observations at your finance meeting. It was pointed out that Beach Mountain needed to come and justify their requests. And that's what I'm doing. I'm complying with that. But I would point out that no other department had to justify their request other than sending in the budget. And they were funded based on the budget they sent in. And I think Beach Mountain should be treated the same way. The other thing is that, if in fact I have to come back to you, as some of you said in the last meeting, to justify over expenses, I can do that. I'm gonna bring you the power bill, I'm gonna bring you the fuel bill, I'm gonna bring you the telephone bill. Do we really wanna do that? Because I'm prepared to do it, because that's what you said I needed to do, and this isn't Bob Putney's money. This isn't the town of Beech Mountain's money. This is the Avery County taxpayers who reside in Beech Mountain, pay their fire tax, and they deserve to have some consideration for that. So with that, I'll shut up and ask you the difference is $19,000 from what we were offered to what we asked for. And that's what we're asking for. And if you've got any questions, I'm here to answer them for you.
Okay. One for me personally when in 17-18 you were 45.5, and this I talked about the justification because don't know what it was before. From 17 to 18 you went from 45.5 to 63.54. My question is that was a good jump from what had traditionally been getting. Why was that?
Well, what happened was this quarter share. I'm sure you've heard about it. This quarter
We
share.
actually talked about that. Where did it come from?
Well, no one really knows. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the rules we've been playing with since I came on 11 years ago. And in the 17-18 budget process at Franklin Fire Department, I made a presentation, and Charlie Franklin was the fire coordinator at the time. And the policy was that Beech Mountain would get a quarter share of what each department got at the year's end. Instead of just their budget that you're giving them, because every month you approve tens of thousands of dollars for other departments that Beech Mountain gets no credit for. So I made the argument back at that meeting that we would wait for the fiscal year to end, and then the fire commission would look at what was actually spent on each department, average it, and take 25%, and that would be Beech Mountain's quarter share. Mm-hmm. And when they did that, they were surprised at how much money they were spending throughout the year, and that was when the jump occurred. And that was we had that meeting at Frank. Okay, and some of you were there, and that was this quarter share thing. Instead of a quarter of what you consider each department's operating expense, because that's not a true budget number. When you get to the end of the year, if you would go back and see what you spent on each department in the last 12 months, that number is substantially higher. And so the argument back then was that Beech Mountain and Seven Devils would get a quarter share of what was actually spent in each department, and that would be fair and equitable. Mm-hmm. We still did not argue the salaries, which at that time weren't as large as they were today. You've been adding personnel, and Seven Devils and Beech Mountain, we don't get any credit for that. In fact, when Charlie was here, I asked him, I said, anytime you want to send someone up to Beech Mountain for a week or two, please do it. And it never got very far. But that's the explanation for that jump. It was a change in how they were calculating what the quarter share was based upon. It was the actual expenditure the year before.
Well, I do know that the quarter share came up, and I guess the question at that time was that 37, 34, 30. What we giving you? What we be allocated for you this year?
It was 34.7.
Okay, and that was discussed about quarter share of operational budget plus it was salaries plus grant monies. So that would be a quarter share of that, but not a total year-end deal. So,
well, even if you take the 34 and you calculate it, first of all, you're calculating it on the operational budget that you're giving other departments in the county. And those operational budgets don't account for grants, doesn't account for trucks, doesn't account for personnel and expenditures. 3 large expenditures. So your operating number that you're using to calculate Beech Mountain and Seven Devils quarter share is artificially low, is what I'm saying. Right. And so that argument back in 2017 was take the actual expenditures for the past year and assign that quarter share. And what really happened in that meeting was even though we got a substantial bump, and so did Seven Devils, it was less than what we have been asking for, and we accepted it.
And then you're saying last year, which was kind of a mistake, because what we were looking at was a $37,000 number. That got messed up. And then they went back and refunded.
Yeah, what happened last year is, and part of the problem all departments have in Avery County is we put our budget in January, as you see when I sent you this letter, and we don't hear anything until June.
Right.
And so we're trying to figure out what's going to happen in June. And in years past, there was controversy where contracts didn't get signed at the last minute because departments didn't get funded the way they thought. So part of the problem is we don't know. I didn't know until the middle of June, just before your meeting, that we were cut 40%. And that's why I showed up in June to talk about that.
This is last year.
No, that was this year.
Right.
So Chicken met with me, Jeff met with me, and I showed him all my records. He got his records, and there was a $20,000 adjustment that the fire commission made last year for this current budget to get us to the 61,504. That for whatever reason, Charlie paid it out of some account and it didn't get put in correctly.
Okay.
That was the mistake that we made going into this year. And so when you set your budget for this year, Beach Mountain wasn't credited with that adjustment. Right. That was where the problem was.
Okay. But that was my questions, just trying to get the understanding of the 45 to the 60, and what the reason was that for from your perspective. So, gentlemen, any other questions or conversation or concerns or? So you're here to ask for the additional $19,000?
Yes.
Okay. We did cover that during the special meeting, but he wasn't here, and so he's here to ask for it in person. Okay, well, the chair entertain a motion for budget amendment for Beach Mountain to get them up to for $19,000. And so I need a motion from the floor.
Sounds about right, to be fair. I mean, if we're at 34, they haven't been that low since 2010.
And I'm right here and seeing I was rounded off to 10,000 for your truck loan. It looks like the total payments on drugs is 40 rounded out.
Yes.
So technically 25%. So with that, we would technically be supplying you in a roundabout way with your 25% if we're going to go that route.
Correct.
Your trucks.
Correct.
Which there's 10,000 more. But you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Of the 19, or the roughly 19.
Well, and his request is for 19. If this board, during his conversations right now, and us discussing this and looking for a motion, and during the discussion, if you feel that if they deserve more, but maybe not 19, you all have the ability we have the ability to do whatever we need to or nothing. You can do all, part, or absolutely nothing. So, Bob is here he's making his case, he's brought his justifications.
I mean, my only thing is that if we give them more, we should look at giving Seven Devils more. I mean,
Okay.
if we're gonna be fair, we need to be fair across the board. That's what I said that time.
That's true. That's true.
It's not fair to, it's not fair to,
You have to see their true budget and then kind of base it on that. Kind of like, well, I think that's what I'm seeing here, right?
Yes, sir. And Shane, you're correct. I mean, Seven Devils is in the exact same position that Beach Mountain is.
Well, then that would be a different meeting for Seven Devils.
Sure.
We would,
No, but I don't want to tell you, don't fund them to fund me.
No,
That
I
is,
understand.
it's the right thing to do for both.
But this is about Beach Mountain, and then we would handle the Seven Devils deal. Well,
We have balanced budgets, so.
we have to pull it from like budget amendment, like fund balance. And then make sure that whatever we do this year, that it's what it is for next year on the budget. So we know when we're going through the budget meetings, we're taking everybody's request, which we have to cut every year, that we know that that's what their true number is, or that's what their number is. So.
Well, I make a motion that we give each mountain $10,000 and Seven Devils $10,000.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. We have a second. We're still thinking. We can have a second motion, and then we have discussion, and then we vote. It doesn't, you can make a second motion and then not pass.
So if we're gonna have discussion, I'll say it.
Okay. Now let's have a discussion on this before we take a vote, because y'all still think, seems like the cogs are still turning. So. What do you think, Mark?
Well, I mean, and this is my opinion, right or wrong. Clearly, we see Bob's, budget that apparently has been passed, I guess, by the fire department or town or whoever.
Board of Directors. Board of Directors passed.
And I don't disagree that 25% numbers come out with that. It does appear that that budget is probably, and I'm just speaking my mind here.
Mhm.
It does look like probably even on the worst year, short of a catastrophic building issue that I think we're getting ready to face later.
Yes.
It does look like for most fire departments in this county, that 226 is, I'm guessing, 70,000 more than we would put in most any other department per year. Would you agree with that, man? Just saying overall. Because Bob does have a point that departments do come back for supplemental money at times, but usually it's pertaining to a broke truck or
Use a capital.
Yeah, something that's not very minor.
So you're saying is that, what are you saying exactly? Because I'm a little bit. 226.
The question I would ask is, to be fair to the other departments, that budget's pretty strong.
Right.
Compared to any other department's budget that's been passed.
Mhm.
So should we consider that in this consideration
Well, sure.
on the 25% mark?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So would you agree with the partial funding?
I would agree with you.
Okay, Matt, what do you think? My personal feeling is it needs to kind of be decided what quarter share means. And Bob's saying that it was decided that it would have been a total year in, and that would be the quarter share, and that's where they got the 60. We're obviously not real strong on that right now. This board has not been. To me, I think you need to decide what it needs to be, so there's no misunderstandings like this as you move forward. And even if there's changes in boards or changes in coordinator, you know what it is as you move forward. And maybe this board needs to, if that was voted on before, what quarter share means, or that was just agreed to, I'm not sure. But what I'd like to see is an understanding of what it is, so there's no misunderstanding. Just establish what it is for both Beach Mountain and Limble. You have it in the minutes, or you have it in the, I mean,
Be careful.
well, guys, I'm old, so my mind is going. See, now you got me thrown off. So anyway, to determine what it is, it's in the minutes, it's in the bylaws, or it's in the contracts, and that's what you go by every year. Consistency every time, transparency every time. So we know what it is, so there's no screw up here on this deal, okay? So if we want to give them partial money or all the money, to me, it doesn't matter in the end. What I want though is the process not to have a glitch. That's would be my main concern. So I certainly if like Matt said, 34 is what they had 10 years ago, less than 34. So they've had more than that for the last 9 years. What they have now does seem like it's low. I would certainly, my thought is I would certainly want to give them the additional, I would vote for the additional 10,000 at least. So,
My figure was closer to 15. That's just mine.
what's your thoughts on that, Mark? Amount wise?
I hate to say it, but I haven't thought that far.
Well, it could,
I could easily agree with that on 15.
okay. Shane, it could be that you could amend your original motion unless you want to keep it the same. Or we could, if we wanted to, we could, vote that motion down and re-motion for a higher amount.
So let's vote, see what happens.
Okay, well, motion, on the floor is to award, a budget amendment for the budget amendment for the budget request of an additional $10,000 for, Beach Mountain. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. What is it? Dies? Okay. Now, it dies. Now, is there another, motion on the floor?
I make a motion that we amend Beach Mountain budget $15,000.
All right, do we have a second?
Include 7 Devils on
We will, yeah.
Take a look at your numbers and see whether they're.
with everybody with
Well, the issue, I think, is Beach Mountain. Now, Jeff needs to call, I think 7 Devils needs to come with their own budget.
Well, I mean, I just got about the numbers that were set.
Right.
So I mean, if we're giving them more, it's, I mean, and
Well-
7 Devils is lower than what.
7 Devils needs to come to us.
Yeah.
And we can encourage them to do that. But this is a Beach Mountain deal, so I
Something
think,
wrong with that, Bobby?
I can do that.
okay. Because this is a Beach Mountain deal, I think.
Well,
7
they had to
Devils.
bring their budget so you could see this.
Correct.
5%.
They would need to do what Bob's done, come back with some justification, and we can do with that meeting, which sounds like it's gonna be next meeting. So, all right, we have a first and a second. Any other discussions? So the motion is to award Beach Mountain $15,000 as their budget, bump to catch them up to where the request is. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You good? Nay? All right. 3-1, you pass.
Thank you, guys.
That's 15, Bob. Thank you.
They don't need to pay that.
That's gonna come out of fund balance.
Okay.
That's the only place it can come from.
Just writing a check for it.
Yeah, but we're not just writing a check. It needs to be recorded next year in the budget time, that that's how much they got total, okay?
Okay.
So we don't mess with this
Can they
again.
not change it?
Can I just-
Like a monthly check?
Yeah, can we just have it
They just need to change it.
monthly check?
Catch him up to what he's lacking and then.
Mhm.
Because it's gonna get confused again.
Well, we're adding that to their current budget. So,
I don't
Can
think,
we do that?
I done ask Ashley that kind of already, and she didn't really want to do that right now, for sure.
who?
Right.
Because it needs to be dispersed out, just like every department.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
All right. All right, gentlemen, in, line item B, personnel, policy and physical. There has been some changes. We had some initial changes. I know when I first came on, we changed things around in terms of, personnel, in terms of we have an assistant now. So we've done some changes on this, but there was other little odds and ends that needed to go back through. And so we did the big things we needed to do. Now we're looking at the little things. Now, Jeff, each board member has a copy of this, but this also went to the chiefs, correct? And did, any of the chiefs have any issues? Because they're kind of a part of this.
Mark expressed a few issues, and I think he's the only one that's really,
We have, the chief's only up this Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a lot of reading.
yeah.
Right,
I was reading it between load and dirt.
right.
And, I don't really feel like, to be dead honest with you, that they've had time to read and look it over.
Okay.
Actually, I feel like he probably should, and I hate to do it, but what's right's right. I think it should be tabled until the association can have their next meeting. In order for any feedback, but if we're talking about it, I assume that's what we're doing, right?
Well, we're looking to pass it. But if there's an issue,
Is this going to be the official Bible?
yes.
A lot of mistakes in here.
Well,
For
okay.
instance, in some areas, it talks about, potential employee and alcohol. And it says that in some places it suggests that it's 0, others it says 2. I really don't want an employee who's can blow to.
No. I don't know. We're hard up for volunteers, but not that hard up.
And just several things in here, wording, often it speaks of Chicken, or Jeff, excuse me, as the, fire department coordinator, and then it'll flip over and refer to him as the fire department coordinator.
Not just the fire.
Fire commission coordinator.
The word department drops and then sometimes it doesn't.
I may be wrong, but I would expect if you went to court, this is it. So if
That is
you
correct.
do not have exact wording every time,
Mhm.
you've lost the lawsuit.
All right, why don't we do, as far as that goes, why don't we do this? If we've got these kind of issues in here, which you can't have, this is the Bible, and this is what we go through. If somebody gets fired, this is
Or anything else.
goes through, right? So what we need to do, and even though it's maybe not, it's minor in terms of the overall scheme of things, maybe we'll give the chiefs
If
more
I'm,
time to do it.
if I'm the one that's hurt, my lawyer will not fix it.
And maybe we should have legal, our attorney go through it, yeah. Should have thought about that before, absolutely. Are y'all okay with it?
And here's another example. And
Well, I just think we need to get it, before we send it forward, we need to get it where it's pretty much where we want it,
Right,
and then send it, because there's no need.
no. I
I
think we have, the chiefs absolutely need to be okay with it, they need to be on board. And, so,
Well, we might not be happy about everything, that's what we'll have to discuss, but
that's when we give feedback, and
it's,
right, okay,
refers to the knowledge and skill we're doing. And it doesn't refer to district, it refers to town. They've got to know the town. So that just means what? Newland's guy only needs to know Newland,
Right.
Newland city limits.
Okay. No, I absolutely, we do think that we need to get this right. So, you agree with that, Matt? So, we will, let's table this till next month and let the chiefs in on it, and then let's see what kind of feedback we have. We can have discussion, and then we need to go one more till it passes. It's important that we get this straight. Are we all on board with that? Okay. Jeff, you got that?
So, as a part of that, physical was on there too.
Yeah.
As a part of that, so.
So that's part of the personal policy, right?
Well, yeah, this is a total set, this is what we scheduled the guys for.
Right.
So last year we had all the issues last year, and it doesn't seem like the past several years that what we were doing is working whatsoever. So I have contacted the Baker Clinic, and they are willing to do the physicals for us. And the CDL physicals that they'll do on them, and then there's 3 or 4 other things that I checked on with the consultant doctor going by the NFPA standard of periodically doing stress tests on the guys, which will probably be every 5 years, and chest x-rays periodically. And she's supposed to, I was hoping to have a price by tonight, but didn't have time to get everything in now. But basically what I guess want to know more than anything tonight, if y'all still want me to try to pursue this, I think we can save ourselves some money doing it this way. We can actually file, all the guys have insurance with free physical anyway, so that'll pick up that part of it, actually file an insurance. And
That's not. You cannot file a physical for employment on insurance. All right.
What, Jeff, what are we
anyway,
doing now?
The Greenville Fitness Company, they come up, and they do all of our guys at one time.
I mean, that's not something I'm here about. Any issues there?
Guess it's some discussion.
Yeah.
So Greenville, when they do it, they basically, in my opinion, take on a fairly large liability of stating that this employee is fit to fight fire by NFPA standard. Is Baker going to do that?
I mean, it's the doctor signing off. I mean, it's like,
Are you saying that's a liability because if he's not, it comes back on us?
Everything on them. If they tell me I'm ready to go and I follow their dead going,
Yeah. I need to, how does that working now, Jeff? So they come up and do physical, and what
Yeah.
is that, what does that say? What does that physical tell us?
They do a bunch of blood work, they do a stress test, they do x-rays every other year, chest x-rays every other year. They do a drug test, they do our CDL physical.
pretty much ready to put it on.
Mhm.
they say they do, but they don't.
Well, and we do that for the benefit of the employee.
Yeah.
So they know what's going on. But, so we have a concern to where we need, I guess we need to run that by legal too. Is that what we're?
I mean, you know, it's pretty much standard physical. The only thing additional they're doing, and the standard would read that it's like when you and the doctor and we're kind of setting guidelines on what kind of, kind of doctor's opinion on like the stress test. However, typically that's about every 5 years, but you may have somebody that may have more risk factors, and may have to have it more often than the 5 years, or maybe age, age, some other things that will come in consideration with that. But I think, in the scheme of things, we'd have a whole lot better service, but if we ever have an issue, we've got a place to send our guys, number one. And then we can kind of spread it out a little bit, where we're not tying everybody up in one day, we can kind of split up when they're physical. So they're all not at one time, we've got everybody. And I think the stress test, an actual stress test, would be better for the guys than what they're doing with this company, because I don't think it's very, very accurate.
So you're mainly promoting to that, another company that will do a better job.
Yes. And then we had all the issues that they had, all the bloodborne stuff
Oh,
down
renewal.
in the station.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Okay.
I think there were several issues. So,
Well, so on the, let's do this, because that's in the personnel policy, we have it where they can take physicals and we provide them, correct? And so we're also looking at maybe changing companies.
Yeah.
So,
Well, here's our issue right now. Our guys, they do it, it's in September, end of September is when we always do it.
right,
And we're coming up on September pretty quick,
well,
and we've got, well, Steve's license go dead, September 5th. He will not have driver's license after September 5th.
well, if we're looking to do this, I don't know that changing that quick is the answer.
You're talking about the CDL.
Yeah,
They have to go to Rome or Baker Center,
so
just go ahead and get it.
are we gonna pay for his? I mean, we have all that, we always do. It comes with the package, it comes in that package, and we always pay, it's always a item of select.
How do you get out of the loop?
He's not out of the loop, he is on a yearly, blood pressure medicine, yes, sir. So,
Well, if
And
we're
so we've
looking
got-
at,
as we hire
we need to
people,
get,
we've got 4 that are supposed to take it this year, and, you know, the rest of them take it next year, and
and the other thing about this too, as we hire people, we can send them this.
Yeah, we
You know, which we should be doing anyway.
so this actually is, it seems to me this is two separate issues. Number one, on the personnel policy, okay, that we, on personnel policy, get that to the chiefs. Let's give them a month to look over that. Let's get that where we want it and go through all the typos and all the eyes on it. Everybody needs to be good with it, and then we'll send that through legal, and then we can get that passed. On physicals, get the, if we're looking to go more local and be local and maybe not have as many issues as we've had like we did at Newland, we need to look at that too. But if you can get your information to Jeff, and then we can compare, I guess, right? The pros and cons, and that what we do is we would need to vote then to change our physical provider to Baker Center. Does that sound right?
I think it's a good idea, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
As long as they'll give us.
Well,
the same
we'll need to,
documentation
yeah,
Or liability, whatever. They can
Right.
put that back on there.
well, what we'll need to do is just have the information on both sides, and then we come and we present it as, do we want to change, and then we vote on it. Yes or no, but we have the information on both sides on that deal. Obviously, it sounds like it's going to be a better deal. So, but like, I'm not familiar with how much is going to be the cost. Let's get all the details on that, and then we can come back next month and
I think for the first thing.
yeah.
let's get all, and you get all this information. Let you
Cost
know
us
that
time
we'll
that
put
would,
it on next month,
just a touch.
and we can vote on it. Get it done.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Do we want to send Steve over there just to try it out and see? Cause he's gotta have, I mean, he's gotta have.
We've gotta have one.
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I mean, because particularly if he's gotta get it done before the group comes up and does everybody one day, right? So have him do that. Are we all, everybody good with that?
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, now you know what to do on both those issues, right? You got that? Okay. Elk Park. Is somebody here from Elk Park or?
They have not made it back yet.
Okay.
Mike did send me Mike Ellenberg, Chief of Elk Park, did send me a text message. And said that they had not made it back yet.
Okay,
And that he said that, Elk Park would like to move to the next step with option A and get a cost from the contractor on cost of repair. Thanks.
well, did y'all get the Alpha Environmental and Engineering Services report? And Mark, I thought of you first, because you probably are aware of this. It sounds, there's two options, and correct me if I'm wrong, sounds like they're saying, number one, overall, the soil under Elk Park's new edition, or the latest edition, is zero good. It's sinking. And apparently it was built on sawdust. And their option is, option A is to install monitoring devices and to watch it. And then after they've watched it and see how it's settling and how much it's settled, because they can monitor it. And I'm not sure, it says for 12 months, so they'll watch it for a year. And then with that, they can come up with a price, because that will help determine the pilings, and that needs to be due to fix it. So obviously, this is not going to be a cheap deal. Obviously, we don't have the money to do anything right now. So observing it, having them observe it to get that option, it sounds like what they would like to do. I don't know how much, did they say how much it would cost to do that?
No, this company just tells you what's wrong and how to fix
What
it.
they'll do is set it,
We need to get a price on the monitoring, right?
in the park zone,
Mhm.
and then they'll come back every 3 months and measure how much they've moved.
So we have that option. Option B is to tear the thing down and tear the addition down and either dig all that out down to hard soil, put soil back compacted, or build another building somewhere else.
And did you see how deep the good soil is?
Yeah, it's like,
10 foot.
Yeah. So, I don't know that we're ready to tear that building down. So what do y'all think on this? I mean, should we take the monitoring? If we do the monitoring, which Jeff, we need to get a price, I think, on how much the monitoring is going to be. Maybe it's a big deal, maybe it's not, but we need to kind of know what that is. And if they monitor it for a year, then we'll know how to fix what's there and how much it costs, and we can work with that.
I think we need to be looking, I mean, along with that, I mean, I don't have a problem with monitoring, but I think we need to be, and for them, we need to be thinking about a plan B.
Well,
Because I don't see,
monitoring is going to give you time to raise your 600,000 or 700,000.
If you can raise 600,000 or 700,000.
I mean, I just don't see it being feasible to fix this problem. And you might fix it today, but what is it going to be 10 years down the road?
Once they fix it,
It should be fixed. Yeah.
like at the profile trail, I had the sun you deal with there. The only difference is I was only 5 foot.
Mhm.
If you're completely facing and digging now, I mean,
Well,
that's, to me, just,
Jeff, if you'll get a price on option A,
Okay.
if that, whatever that may cost, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. And then, as Shane, suggested, we probably need to go ahead and get with Elk Park and say, all right, look, this thing's gonna be $1 gazillion. Let's look at option B, either tearing that down and building something somewhere else, or adding on to whatever those options need to be. They need to start, Elk Park would need to start giving us some thoughts on that. Cause it may be cheaper to build something else than it is
See
to
what
fix
they
it.
say needs to be done,
Mhm.
and you got companies out there that can do this stuff and make it right.
Yeah.
And it ain't cheap, but it ain't no bill.
Right, well, you gotta look at that too. They can go ahead and start looking at how much it would cost to, what are the options on building if you didn't wanna do the repair? And then we'll have the number from the repair a year from now. And then if we get it back from a year now, then it would be the next year's budget that we would allocate for it. So they're on level for a couple of years. Yeah. Where are we thinking on that?
I think they're gonna start
that
on. So we gotta get a price on it.
Jeff, if you can get a price on the monitoring, and so we know what we're doing with on that, because if that's just a matter of somebody coming around, hopefully it's not too much, but those guys aren't cheap, no matter what they do. You'll get a price on that so that we can, start looking at starting that, whatever that price is.
Where they get you on the price is, once they make their measurements, they plug it in their computer and then charge you largely for what the computer tells.
Hmm.
So we're
Paying
gonna
for software.
Yeah. It's like a doctor reading an X-ray, I guess.
Right. It's not the actual act, it's the knowledge that goes behind it. That's why when we go fix a furnace and that means all we did was flip the on switch on because someone flips it off, it's still gonna be $100. All you did was flip the switch. Well, but I know to flip the switch. I know what else to do. Okay, Jeff, you got that?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next agenda item, Linville, volunteer fire department generator install.
Yes, sir. The generator is, electrically installed and everything is good on that end. Contacted Natural Gas to do the hookup and they sent us a quote and and I apologize, we had open house at the school tonight and I had to come straight from the school to here, so I did not get a chance to bring you that paper, but it was $1,600 ish dollars
Okay.
to do the gas hookup. And yeah, I mean, it's already there. I mean, everything's already there. We were not expecting that number. So.
Of course, that's the main line.
Well, not really. No, I mean, they run a secondary line off the main line on 105 down to the back of the building. It's right there. Literally, the generator is within 12 foot of the regulator.
Does that serve Tanglewood back there or they just ran up?
No, just us. They ran a secondary line off the main for our building.
Okay.
Because like I say, we hooked into natural gas years ago for the heat
Right.
system.
Yeah,
And, and so like I say, I don't know, but it was $1,600 and some dollars and I can get it to you tomorrow. I mean, I get the actual.
Right.
I speculated 500 and I can see that I'm gonna have to go up on my price. Working too cheap.
Now, Jeff, have we not, we've talked about this before, or we talking about other? We allocated this money?
No, we had the money allocated to buy their generator.
Yes, to buy the generator. We've talked about
Never anticipated.
all this process up until the gas hookup.
Right. Okay, and I guess this money would come out of,
Probably our,
okay,
capital, hold on. Our capital projects. It come out of this year's capital projects money.
okay,
That's what we're
right,
working on building basically.
okay. All right, well, the chair entertains a motion to, entertain a motion allow $1,600.
Was it 16 something? Because I apologize.
Here's the deal, since I got us into it.
Yeah.
It was more than 16, it was like 1640.
Okay.
We'll cover that.
So, yeah, okay, yeah.
We'll allocate $1,600.
Yes.
For the hookup of the natural gas with the generator at Linville. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Yeah, you probably need to on that. Yeah. All in favor? Aye. Or probably abstains from that, so. All right,
Thank you.
there you go. Now, what's next on the Banner Elk truck replacement concerns? Just an overview, we just recently done a survey of all the trucks in the county fleet, and there is a replacement schedule now for all that, and that was sent out to everybody. And so I'm assuming this is one of Banner Oak's concerns on that.
Mr. Chairman, when you asked was Banner Oak here, I texted Chief Byrd, and he texted me back, and he said they'll have to table it because he ended up having to pull a daddy duty assignment that he wasn't aware of this evening. So he had child care change. So
I just came off of daddy duty, and that's a 26-year-old. 26-year-old, so it don't end.
yeah, but
Okay.
he apologized. You know, he said, "Tell him I'm sorry," but he said it did come up. He said if it could be tabled until the next month, he would appreciate it.
Now, and also, we coupled that with the Limble truck situation, which the trucks we just allocated the money for, Lord, asked for this to be on the agenda. So is there any concerns that you all have, in terms of, we've allocated 450 for the truck?
Yeah.
And in Limble's situation, they're running out of trucks. I mean,
Actually, Peterbilt transmission sleeping,
right,
and it won't go for another 3rd year.
okay.
That's the
And now,
reserve truck.
the question was, do we need to get bids? And I think the answer to that is yes. Because we got bids for the original truck, okay? And we rejected those, so now we're in a new situation, but you probably still need to get bids.
We've talked to truck reps for the past week, and we've been
Right.
speaking with people. So yeah,
And so, let me ask this, because this has been floated around a couple of times. Can you get bids on existing trucks, demos, that may be closer to what you were hoping to get anyway?
You get a bid, but they will talk to you about selling.
But you can get a price, well, not a bid, but you can get a price for it, right? We need to get two or three prices on that.
Now, I'm gonna talk just a little bit here later.
Yeah.
No voting in the audience. Bob may know this, I don't know, I just learned this from the reps. We talked to. He says that because of the situation, we are getting out of trucks, that there is a emergency status that we can operate under, and we don't actually have to take bids, but on these trucks that are what they refer to as stock trucks, that we can step outside the bidding realm. I don't know how this is done. That's what I was asking you.
You can piggyback off of another department. So if another department has bid out a truck, you can piggyback onto there because it's already been through the bid process. You can piggyback off of there, like Charlotte Fire Department or something.
what they're more referring to is an emergency declaration. Is I guess kind of or a need declaration.
You can just refer to an emergency
Where-
something.
Where you can circumvent the bidding process and get your truck faster.
Well, but I don't know, and Ms. Turbeville, I'm going to refer to you maybe to make sure we're straight on this. The bid process, you usually get bids on the same specs, but if you get prices, are we talking about the same thing? Or, I mean, if you get a price on a truck,
Let me put it this way.
or you get two prices on trucks and one is higher or lower, then that's the same thing as getting a bid. If the truck is available and you don't have to wait on it being built. And I'm asking for my own knowledge.
I may get in trouble for saying this. I don't know if I'm illegal or illegal, but I want to say it.
Well, but it's all open discussion, it's fine.
I have discovered, what's the name of the truck? Can't even think of it right now. It's one like you.
Pierce.
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 So for the money we have available, Pierce tells me that you will build us a truck in less than 9 months.
Yeah.
That is equivalent to the Rosenbauer that we expect. But I've got to be able to just.
But we gotta be able to compare that to something. Isn't that correct?
Well, compared to the bids we've already received.
Specs that we create, but he seems to be willing to, kind of like when I buy a new truck or drag, I told him what we had to spend and here's what we want. He said, I can do that.
But you would have to go to somebody else and say the same thing.
Well, we already did.
If I'm in the fire department and not Avery County, I don't have to go through the bids, right? We used to not do that legally.
Commission mind that that's our standard practice to do that.
Okay. So I guess what.
Well, and it goes back to tax dollars.
As a commission, that's
Right.
tax dollars.
It's tax dollars, so under the, being tax dollars, you have to get 2 or 3.
Well, on that, there's not a minimum number of bids that you have to have.
As long as you bid it out, you give the opportunity.
We solicited. So can you solicit?
It can, but, you know, of course, yeah, we can. So maybe I misunderstood, but when he goes through the bid process, it's like when you're out doing something. You know, we bid it and have to wait 6 months to do the job, we have to put more money on it to cover unexpected stuff.
Right.
If someone tells you, tell me a price and we'll start in the morning, you can get more precise on your number.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
And then-
we probably play that every day.
And then one of the companies we're pursuing stiffed us on our meeting the other night, didn't show up, and so they're off our table.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not interested in our business.
Well, I just,
If there's a truck out there that's already out there built, we could just vote and do that, right? If it's just buying an apparatus that's already built.
The problem is, one, that's close to what we want, is that
Is there anything like a Thursday emergency situation?
Not that I have things, but this needs to go to legal counsel. This right here needs to go to legal counsel.
because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna speculate here, because I don't even know if, I never thought to check. We talked about it. I don't even know if the Pierce will pump it Thursday. Normally they go to 40.
We're talking about
I'm sorry.
the reserve truck that we're currently driving. It may not pump in third gear.
the goal here is, number one, get a truck as quick as we can get a truck, because we're running out of trucks. Yellow ones. We have no yellows.
Should have bought red.
Chartreuse.
Should have
Well,
bought
if we're
red.
having an
Yeah.
issue with Peterbilt, the only other option might be the squirt tank.
Well, the option is to get a truck. and
Well, I mean,
get
we
it-
need something, if it ain't, we've got to do that, I mean, we ain't got time.
Well,
Well,
but we need to be,
Yeah, well, I mean, we can get, we'll have to get somebody to, yes, I mean, we can, and they probably do it.
That, motorcycle wreck, it ran Tuesday evening.
Tuesday.
It would never come out of third gear all the way to the wreck and back to the station. I think it has since come out.
But if it ever got
we
stuck,
really
it makes you
won't
want to
trust
do
that
it.
on firefighting. If it's having troubles.
what I would suggest, and let me know if we're good there, is that, Jeff Gibbons, legal.
Okay.
Again, all this needs to be done tomorrow.
We'll do that.
Get with legal and make sure, let's find the best way and the quickest way and the options that we have.
We need to know what our negotiating parameters are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to be able to know what we can do legally with tax dollars to facilitate a truck as quick as we can. Via through, in coordination with Linville Fire Department. Okay,
So, do we need to,
get with legal first.
who do you, I mean, who, we'll need to get somebody to come to the station, I guess, look at that ASAP. won't we?
I mean, like I said, I reckon when it runs the fire alarms today,
Yeah,
one problem is, a truck has probably run more in the last month than it's run in the last 10 years. Because it's running 2, 3, 4 calls a day. Been more years, off of grandfather. And, it ain't like it.
Eagles Nest,
People say,
5 miles on the backside of Eagles Nest.
it's been, been plumbed to the backside of his nest twice now in a week.
It wasn't built on mountains every day.
Okay, so we'll get our options and then try to move forward. Is that good?
I mean, that's all we can do.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, with your other thing.
Okay.
should be done. One is still done.
We're waiting on the confirmation on the moon when they put, because I was afraid to tell him to do it until I spoke with Chick, and he was out with his wife.
Yeah.
And, just couldn't get it. The other one, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you, I've been so busy myself, I haven't checked on 6301, but I don't even think it's left the shop yet to go up to, Anchor Ritchie.
For the cosmetic.
Yeah, to see, come to find out, it shut, when it got off in the ditch and the riprap, it shoved the oil pan up into the motor. And you never guess what oil pan for that motor costs? You might. $2,800. 27 some change. I guess that's installing it too, man.
Trucks?
Where we don't get in this situation?
Yes, well, that's what we,
So, is this year, Lincoln's year to get their truck?
2 years ago was Rumble's year to get their truck.
Actually, almost full.
Yeah, it's almost full.
You don't want me to tell you in this setting, but I will.
We've got a complete fleet survey now that Jeff and Brian just finished, and we have a rotation schedule every year. Limble and Frank and Fall Creek are getting new trucks now, and that catches us up. Newland's got one that's gonna be the next year's truck, and we'd like to try to, and I'll be coming to the commissioners at some point, try to get 2 trucks replaced a year to stay on the schedule. But Newland's got theirs, and they're talking about refurbishing.
Right.
So, in doing that process, which may save us money.
And time.
Because I thought we were on a schedule at one point where this would not.
We've been took off of it.
But we're back on.
We're back on.
We're back on, absolutely.
So if you're doing your trucks ahead of time of going to truck committee, I mean, how does that work? You got a truck committee, right?
Yes, and trucks committee looks at the specs
Okay.
of each truck that,
So when do those go?
The problem was they were waiting towards the end of the budget year before anything was done, so it was throwing it off another year.
see,
Why
we,
don't you start?
So that's why we've got to now start the
Well,
process.
you actually need to start a year before your
Well, yeah.
budget year. And that's what Newland's doing tonight. They're saying, which direction can we go, because they're next year. So we've got, everything is on track.
Okay, so, one other question.
Yes, ma'am.
So does each fire department have different specs for their fire trucks?
They have to meet a certain criteria first.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's certain criteria. And then they can.
They can, if the money's still there to go for other stuff, so we,
Right, in this case, even if it is.
But if the money's not there, then they go by that certain, by the standard. that-
Yeah.
Right. Okay, and we appreciate the commissioners very much for all the money that they give. You can take that back. Okay, Linville, we're good?
Yes.
On track with the truck deal? And guys, we'll stay on this until we get all this resolved and we'll get back on rolling, get going.
When Damon lost it, I was like,
Damon's insurance company.
that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still,
It's just another
Still
problem.
has to be done.
we don't pay for it, but it's that much more time.
Well, like I said, and that was last week when I talked to him. So I would assume it is replaced, but truthfully, I think Penn was supposed to come in like Thursday or Friday. They expected.
It's not a money issue to us, it's a timing issue for us.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff, your report, what you got?
Well, not a whole lot, we've talked about most of it. The only thing we really got left is that, Crossville, where they went from a 7 to a 5 on their ISO rating.
Oh, very good.
So, and just
And who, Green Valley, Frank, who they,
Frank went to front 7.
Frank just did that well. Well, see, that guys, that right there is something that everybody needs to know. They need to know that what we're doing and.
And I'd like to see as soon as we find out, because Newland should be any day now, they find out that we get something together.
That needs to be published. We need, the commissioners need to know that's what's happening.
Well, I will tell you that we got which was in their packet, we got a report on every fire department, what happened with their ratings, and that went in the commissioner's packet.
Okay.
So we know what happened with every fire department.
And this, something that I'm probably going to bring up in a future meeting is that this needs to be announced. People need to know what we're doing. It don't need to be a secret. Here's what it is. Here's what we're doing. If you're in that fire district, then you can check on your insurance ratings or your insurance savings. And
That's what I was talking about, as soon as we find out.
Right.
Newland's getting something.
And we need to start being a little more public, in my opinion. Now, there's other things with volunteers that I know I want to bring up probably next meeting or something, but we need to let it out there that this isn't just a tax dollar black hole, that just everything's sucked in. You know, there's a service provided, it's an essential service, and we're handling the money and we're doing things for you. So anyway, that's my little spiel on that deal. So if anybody else wants to talk, go ahead, but I will not be on that. Okay, very good on that. Anything else?
No, you pretty well got in front of you everything we've been doing for 5 months. So.
Okay. So is that it? Okay, now I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the July 9th regular meeting. Approve the minutes of that meeting. Any motion? And a second. All in favor? Now also need, we want a motion to approve the minutes of the July 23rd special finance meeting. We can get a motion for that. So, second, all in favor? All right, upcoming meetings. Next Fire Commission regular meeting will be September 10th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. Avery County Firemen's Association will be September 3rd at the Avery County Ladder Station at 7 p.m. The Chiefs meeting will be at 6:30 before then. So we have nothing on closed session. And so I need a motion to adjourn. There you go, Matt. Second. Shane, you got the second. All in favor, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Is she still here?